Welcome to Mary MacKillop Today's special online event. We are glad so many of you could join us, and I would like to offer our gratitude for your support to continue the work and legacy of Saint Mary MacKillop. This afternoon, we would like to talk about how the work you support is reaching the margins. My name is Elizabeth Fegan, and I am the Supporter Relations Group Leader and your host today. I'd like to start our event by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the various lands on which we meet today and pay my respects to the elders past and present. We acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to life in our regions and communities. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who join us here today. From a housekeeping perspective, the format that we are using today on Zoom is a webinar. So I would like to assure you that we can't see all of the participants and nobody can see you. The only people you can see and hear are our dedicated speakers. However, there is still plenty of opportunity for you to participate. If you have any technical issues or comments, please use the comment button at the bottom of your screen and the team will respond. Most importantly, we also have time at the end of the session to answer your questions. So if you hear anything in any of our presentation today and you would like to know more, please use the button at the bottom of your screen. It has Q&A written on it. Type in your question and we will do our very best to answer that question at the end of the session. I also want to mention we have a number of supporters joining us by phone today, so we will do our very best to make sure the session is easy to follow, even without any video. So over the next 40 minutes, we will explore one of Mary MacKillop Today's underpinning values, which is reaching the margins. We'll discuss what this means and how it is we put this into practice with examples from 3 of our programs. You will hear from Anita, who is part of our partner organisation Child Benefit in Fiji, about our mobile kindy program. Then our team member Agnes from Timor-Leste will be talking about disability in Timor and our Teton storybooks. And finally, you'll hear from Anita in Bathurst, who will tell you how our financial inclusion program is making a difference. To start the conversation, I would like to introduce our CEO, Jane. Jane has more than 20 years experience working in building stronger communities via the international and Australian not-for-profit sector. Jane has experience as a high school teacher, in journalism and in humanitarian and development work. Jane has a special affection for Timor-Leste, where she lived and worked on the emergency and humanitarian response efforts following the 1999 referendum. She is passionate about Mary MacKillop Today's work, and she is committed to standing with vulnerable and marginalised communities. Thank you, Jane.
Thanks very much, Elizabeth, and welcome to you all today. It's wonderful, and it's actually really motivating for us to see so many people join us in a forum like this. I know that today we have some very new supporters attending, and so I offer a very special welcome to you, to our Mary MacKillop Today family. We're always excited to share with you the good news of our Mary MacKillop Today story. This year, following 2 years of COVID pandemic restrictions, we hope to be able to start meeting more people in person with events and gatherings. Perhaps I might get to meet with you directly. However, we're really grateful we have a medium like this online to be able to stay in touch in the meantime. It's really inspiring for us to be able to share our work more directly with you, as I said. As we undertake our program work each week, I am always conscious of your presence with us, of your compassion and your hope for bringing about change in the lives of others. It's this accompaniment you bring to us that is such a special part of our very big story of Mary MacKillop Today. And this allows us to achieve what we do. So today we are thinking about reaching the margins and why that is so important. Reaching the margins is a value inherent in all of our program work. As an organisation with Saint Mary of the Cross MacKillop in our name, our work is part of Mary's legacy. Mary lived her life reaching the margins, visiting some of the most remote places in Australia to ensure children who lived in these faraway communities had access to schooling, were able to see their right to schooling achieved, regardless of their circumstances. So geography is a really big part of this margin story. The early sisters of the 19th century travelled to the margins of regional Australia. I often think of their courage and their resilience, their determination in living in such arid places, in the extremes of the heat and the cold, with very little physical comfort, to deliver their education to those children, those families who would otherwise not have received basic schooling. We carry on this work of those Josephite sisters today with communities who face this geographic isolation, not just in Australia, but in Fiji, in East Timor, in Peru, in Papua New Guinea. I've previously shared about my last visit to remote communities in the mountains of Timor-Leste, accompanying our staff as they delivered training to teachers and to parents in these tiny remote villages. Our journey, a typical daily event for our team there, involved crossing rivers in vehicles, navigating hillside tracks where roads are non-existent. Sometimes the team are reaching places on foot too. So teachers in schools in such locations are easily forgotten by the education authorities. Parents are very new to being invited into the learning journey of their children. But our programs reach them and bring these new opportunities and new learning and educational and literacy techniques. Today we'll hear more about these programs from Agnes up in Dili. She's here live with us, and she'll show us that reaching the margins is about more than geography. We know in our own society how so many miss out because of opportunity, because of experience or misfortune or structural kinds of injustice. And that means our work at Mary MacKillop Today is very diverse. Often disability can be an impediment for people, and especially for children, to having the same opportunities to others. And children living within these margins deserve special care and compassion. So we're really proud that some of our programs have been able to change this and engage children who have living with these disabilities, engage them in schooling, and even more so by creating resources for schools and for teachers that focus on children with disability. These kind of programs have long-term effect. They also impact on developing a more inclusive curriculum. We're concerned about the degree to which the COVID pandemic may have long-term consequences for the number of communities living on the margins. So we'll touch on that today as well. So I welcome you today to listening to our wonderful speakers, our staff and our program partners who are doing this dynamic work every day, who are really making a difference with your assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. The first program we want to share with you today is our mobile kindy program in Fiji. Fiji faces high rates of poverty, gender inequality, gender-based violence, and inadequate housing. And although the national poverty has been decreasing over the last 15 years, prior to COVID, 30% of Fijians still lived in poverty. A significant challenge facing Fijian families and children is the location of schools. Because of the remoteness of the large islands, it can be very hard for people to access education and health services. Because of this, people travel into the city in search of work, and they end up living in informal squatter settlements where many children have no access to quality education. Mary MacKillop Today believes education is the most effective way of empowering others to help themselves, and having access to quality early childhood education can literally change a child's future. The Mobile Kindy program gives children living in informal settlements around Suva access to high quality and inclusive early education. We spoke with Annalise, who works with Child Benefit, our local partner in Fiji, and asked her to tell us more about this life-changing program. Here's a video of Annalise sharing her thoughts with us.
Bulavinaka everyone, I am Annalise, the director of the Child Benefit Fiji, and also the program that we have, it's Mobile Kindy, reaching the children in the disadvantaged communities, not just the children but the families that are out there in the urban areas. One of the toughest or the challenges that we faced right in the beginning of running this program was actually the lack of resources that we have, and so as the transport, because it's mobile kindy, we need to be able to get up and reach them on time, as well as the human resources. So those were the three areas that was very hard for us, makes it really hard for us to reach the children in the communities. With the effects of COVID in these past months, over a year now, it's going on to 2 years, when the communities were on lockdown, most of the communities that we serve, they were actually the ones that they were locked down because of the spread, the fast spread of the COVID in all these communities. Knowing that they would be the first one to contract this COVID, we try as much as we can to reach them while the communities were still open. What is our success looks like? Our success looks like that if we reach every child, if we are able to reach every communities, every disadvantaged communities, reaching every parents and reach every child, so that parents will know how to better parent their children and come to a point where they really understand the importance of early years of life and the greatest things that a moment of a lifetime of an adult ought lies on the importance of early years of life. The proudest moment that we have is actually seeing children graduated last year, that in the midst of the COVID-19, we were still able, of the help of Mary MacKillop Today, to run an online classes to reach the children. And so at the end of the year, they were able to be graduated. Though it was not just in one place, but in two communities where we go to. The vision of our future of Mobile Kindy or Child Benefit Fiji was that every child in Fiji must be reached during their 0 to 8 years old, and every parent will be able to come through our program as we, the education program that we explain to the parents the importance of early years of life, importance of brain development, and the strength that they do have and the commitment that is needed from their part in providing the care of their children. At this moment, we want to say and always acknowledge the support, our donors from Mary MacKillop Today, who gives to us and are very generous in giving to us, not just in areas of the resources, but also training us, helping us, and how we can better organize our Child Benefit Fiji so that we can reach more children in a very short time. So again, Vinakavakalevu for this time, and Vinakavakalevu Mary MacKillop Today.
Thank you, Annalise. Now, moving on from Fiji, we would like to talk a little bit about our work in Timor-Leste. So I'd like to introduce our program manager, Agnes Britis-Meyer. who is joining us from Dili to speak about disability in Timor and our Teton storybooks. So we have a little bit of a Q&A session with Agnes. So Agnes, I wonder if you could please tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Mary MacKillop Today.
Yeah, thank you, Mana Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. I'm Agnes. I'm from Timor-Leste. My role as a program manager for Mary MacKillop Today's program in Timor-Leste. Yeah, thank you, Mana.
Thanks, Mana. Could you tell us what is it like for people living with disability in Timor?
Well, according to the most recent population and housing census, there are just over 38,000 people in Timor-Leste with a disability. So we compare the people with disability in situation during the Indonesian invasion time and current. So as I mentioned that we compare the situation in Indonesian time, there is no serious attention from the Indonesian government about the disability issues, such as there is no inclusive education policy. Therefore, at the time, they built the special schools for people with disability. It means that the education for disability people will separate from the normal one. So that is also affected our people with disability. They feel isolated from the community, and many of them also did not participate in the education, and it's also affected the number of people with education. People with disability that access to education were very low at that time.
Yeah, so I wonder, having a look at how things were, how do you see that things are changing in Timor at the moment for people living with disability? What are the changes that are afoot?
Yeah, sure. Yes, and after Timor-Leste independence, Timor-Leste government has ratified the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and also others National Convention of Rights. Even the government did not ratify the convention about the right of people with disability in Timor-Leste, but currently the government has approved the National Strategic Action Plan about policy for people with disability last year. Therefore, the intensive campaign about policy for people with disability also have been promoted by the government institutions, the NGOs, and also the civil society. So the implementation of the policy about for people with disability through the one ministry in Timor-Leste is that especially the Ministry of Public Works. Now they have started design all the basic infrastructure construction with the accessibility to facilitate people with disability to access to the different kinds of building that they are going to. And also on the other hand, in the Ministry of Education, they also have revised the national curriculum in 2014. That also they already include the inclusive education about inclusive policy into the national curriculum of education. Therefore, currently, the Minister of Education, they already provide the TOT, train of trainers for inclusive education for the teachers in 13 municipalities, except we only have 3 municipalities that now did not implement the TOT yet. It's about Liquisa municipality, Aileo, and Ainaro. But the rest of that, those teachers already get the TOT about the education, inclusive policy education, that they will learn more about how to teach people, children with disability in the classroom. So they have learned about sign language and braille letter as well. So this is the mechanism that now our Ministry of Education implemented related to the inclusive education that already include in our national curriculum of education in Timor-Leste. And also, for the government also, they already teach people with disability about Braille letter and also sign language. So that is the government are currently doing with to help our people with disability to access to the education. And on the other hand, also the national television station in Timor-Leste also, we already include the sign language when we have the news in the television. We already include the sign language on that. It's proof that the government of Timor-Leste also tried hard to promote the inclusive policy in Timor-Leste, especially how our people with disability in Timor-Leste can access to the information as well. Yeah, that is currently the situation that the changes that the government in Timor-Leste have made. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mana Agnes. That sounds really positive. You've just rattled off so many things that are happening at the moment. I wonder if you could tell us what sort of role have you played? What role has Mary MacKillop Today played in the last 10 years in all of those significant achievements in making life better and more inclusive for people living with disability in Timor?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, MMT policy also aligned with the government policy about the disability inclusion. That is our project, MMT project in Timor-Leste, health literacy project. We also implemented the small grant that we provide the basic sanitation for the schools, and especially our majority of our target schools in the rural area. So we provide the basic sanitation as a bathroom to the teachers and students to the school. So teachers and students will access to the toilet when they need. And that one, the inclusive policy that we include in that small grant that we provided, we facilitated also the ramp on the building. So every bathroom that we provide, we already include ramp there to make sure that our students with disability can easy to access to the bathroom. Yeah. So this is the one thing that now Mary MacKillop Today in Timor-Leste still doing that, and we will always we used to continue that one in the future. And also the second one is now MMT Mary MacKillop Today in Timor-Leste also developed their storybooks for the disability. This is as an initial process for MMT to promote the policy of the disability for children to live in inclusive society. And that policy also was mentioned in the national curriculum about the inclusive education. So we developed the disability books. It's really reflected, or it's really related to the national curriculum content that already mentioned about the inclusive education. And also through the development of this book will help teachers to increase their awareness about how to teach, to treat and teach children with disability in the schools with the same right as other normal students, and also to teach other students to respect for other children with disability. And then we have one mind that everyone is the same, no one is different. So I think this is the what that Mary MacKillop Today has contributed for the inclusive education, inclusive policy in Timor-Leste.
Wonderful, Mana Agnes, thank you so much, and congratulations. I know that leading the project last year to create those 2 books in Teton, focusing on very, very important issues around what it's like to be a child living with a disability in Timor. I know that was a really big accomplishment, so congratulations, and thank you so much. Please Everybody who is listening, if anything that you've heard Agnes say just now, you'd like to know more, please remember to pop a question in the Q&A section, because Mana Agnes will be with us to answer questions at the end of the session. So thank you very much, Agnes. We're going to move on to focusing on our own backyard now. So we're going to have a look at some of the work we do here in Australia. And specifically, we'd like to talk about our financial inclusion program. In 1998, Pope John Paul II's message for World Peace Day recognised that peace was threatened by numerous forms of injustice, including the lack of fair access to credit. In Australia, recent statistics show that almost 17% of all adults currently face financial exclusion. And more alarmingly, 1 in 8 Australian households cannot raise $2,000 in the case of emergency. In response to this great need, Mary MacKillop Today's financial inclusion program supports low-income earners to move away from financial difficulty. So we spoke with our lead team, Anita, who heads up the financial inclusion offices in Central Western New South Wales, to talk to us about how this program is empowering communities in her area. So we're going to cut now to a video of Anita talking about her program, and I'm going to read out some of the questions that she is answering for those people who are on the phone and can't see the video content.
Hi, I'm Anita, Team Leader, Financial Inclusions Team, Mary MacKillop Today.
What need does the program meet?
The need that my program is trying to meet is an overall building of capacity for individuals to make money decisions and providing them access to safe, affordable and responsible credit. With elements in place, this will help improve their financial stability.
How does the program reach the margins?
All of our clientele are vulnerable members of society who are all disadvantaged in different ways. We have been building strong partnerships with community organisations in all parts of the community, which enable us to send clients to them to help them through the process of applying for a nils loan and nils for cars, helping them with EPA, whatever service that they need a hand with.
What is the toughest part of the program?
We feel that the word loan is quite deceptive, because, a lot of our work is nils loans. However, it's quite involved process and very daunting for a lot of our clients to get the documents that's needed, and a lot of clients need to be heavily supported through this process, even if not at the end of the day a nils loan is the answer for that client. We try to advocate for them for their electricity, help them with their work and development orders, courses, whatever it looks like for that individual client. It is a quite daunting process on their behalf.
What impact has COVID had?
We've had to teach our clients who have little or no tech experience, so that's been quite time consuming over the phone, assisting them with them. We've had to spend a lot of time networking with these community organisations so that they will open up their doors and assist our clients through this process that have limited or even low literacy, and throw tech in there, and it's quite a hard process.
What does success look like?
Our number one goal, I think, is providing that holistic service for our clients, so they have access to EPAs, NULS programs, financial counselling, WDO and education. This hopefully means that, the client comes to us, they don't have to retell their story 10 times or whatever, that they feel safe and comfortable, and then we can help them in all of those ways. And I think one of the biggest things that we need to do for the success of the program is secure constant, reliable funding so that we can provide these services in our future.
What's your proudest moment?
I think the proudest moment for myself and my team is the growth that we have achieved in the last 4 years, which has been a vision that has been driven by the sisters of St Joseph's and their vision for our mission. And we've achieved that. We just need to continue to deliver the quality of service into the future.
What's your vision for the future of the program?
My future vision will be to provide more access to vulnerable people to our services. I think that's a big thing, getting the word out there, letting everybody know what we can do to help them.
Tell us about someone you have helped.
And it was a young gentleman that had been on disability support pension, and he'd been given an opportunity to work a couple of shifts at a local factory. Lived with mum and dad all his life, very, very, very limited literacy. The process to get him all his documents and all that probably took us about 10 to 14 days. We got him over the line, got him a Meals for Cars vehicle, and I have never seen somebody so excited that he was actually taking ownership of his life. He was going to go to work, he was going to take himself there. Rewarding. I am very humbled to be doing my job and honouring the Sisters of St Joseph's to help those that are rural and remote and are vulnerable. Thank you so much.
So just over to Jane now.
Thanks, Elizabeth, very much. Well, I hope you've enjoyed hearing from Annalise in Fiji, Anita in Western New South Wales, and Agnes live here from Dili this afternoon. I'd have to say it really is a privilege to work alongside these staff and these partners who are doing the work of Mary MacKillop Today. As you can see, the work is very diverse, but always we are reaching the margins, and we are reaching the margins with education, with our Learning for Life programs. These staff and partners are clearly so dedicated. I'm sure you can see that, really passionate and committed to making a difference for communities around the world. And thank you again for the part you play in that. The year seems to be running away very fast already, and soon we'll turn our minds to tax time, which for us at Mary MacKillop Today is an important time for us to bring in the support we need. It's a time where we ask those of you who are able and in a position to, especially knowing that the context at the moment means that many of us have additional responsibilities and hardships. But for those who can, our invitation is to help support our work to continue. So in that lead up to the end of June, we'll have some more special stories to share with you, specifically about the financial inclusion program that Anita leads. And those resources will come as part of this appeal. So thank you for your support in helping us to reach the margins. We wish you the hope and the new opportunities that the Easter blessing brings us. But before we finish, we do have the opportunity for some question time. So I'll hand back to Elizabeth to lead us through that and facilitate our question time this afternoon.
Thanks, Jane. So this is your opportunity. If there was anything that you would like to know more about, please do go to the bottom of your screen and click the little Q&A double speech bubble button and pop your question in. Only the panelists can view your question, and we will read them out and direct them to the right person to answer them. So I have received a couple already, and the first one is about the mobile community program in Fiji. So I'm just wondering, Jane, if you might be the best person to answer this one. But it was saying, do the parents see the benefit of the mobile kindy, and do they want their kids to go?
Right. Yes, I think when we're dealing, I think about that in this way. We know in Australia in the last couple of decades how far we've come with early childhood education, and how important we now are aware that this is, that these precious early years of life are such important ones in development. And I think in the same way, communities who this is a little bit newer to really appreciate this, because in Fiji we're talking about communities that are more remote in terms of living lives where not so many opportunities present themselves. To have this unique and new experience of early childhood education that arrives into the community, that's delivered there because it's mobile, it's very well embraced. Obviously children love it, but as soon as children see this mobile kindy appear with the leaders, with the resources, the toys, the learning resources, of course they want to be in 100%. They want to be involved, and they're looking for the opportunities of the kindy returning, and so naturally, all parents, who doesn't know that joy as a parent of seeing their child embrace an opportunity to have so much fun, and in that fun to be learning. And so I think the really powerful things about this is that we see parents embrace the learning opportunity. Parents, by being present, also see that modelling from teachers, from the mobile kindy leaders, and they in turn, see the wonder and the magic and the impact of leading their children in literacy games or learning activities. So yes, it's really well embraced. Certainly the community love it, the children love it, and it's something we would like to replicate in many places. We have a similar mobile program in Timor-Leste as well, and the same things apply. Children wouldn't have that opportunity, have it come to them. So it's just amazing and wonderful.
Thanks, Jane. I think the next one will be best for you to answer as well. So popping you on the spot here.
Sure.
It's about the Australian program, about the financial inclusion program. And it's in regards to being able to use a nils loan for a car. So our participant was saying they hadn't heard of nils for car before. Is this something that's new? Is this a new thing?
Yes, so it is quite new. In this past year, I think it has commenced. We know that through our no interest and low interest loan programs that we've been running for many years in Western New South Wales, with the support of Good Shepherd, we know that a large number of the loans that are sought are to help individuals pay off their registration fees for their car. So when you're living in a regional area and your employment is dependent on being able to get to work, and there are no public transport options, and I know Anita spoke of the independence that one of the young men she was working with on a loan, experienced the joy of that. So what we found is that a large proportion of the loans that are sought are for cars, and particularly for registration of cars. So what with the support of our funders as well, we've been able to commence this program, nils for cars, no interest loans for cars, and that helps people cover those costs. And the great thing about that is that it supports them in turn then to keep their job, to maintain employment, to maintain all the benefits of that and their income. And then, of course, like with all loans programs like this that are no interest loans, that are low interest loans, that aren't those commercial loans offered at huge interest rates that only get people more into trouble financially. We find, you know, those who we work with can pay off that loan because it's a supported, you know, it comes with the support and the resources so that it makes it possible. And then in turn, you know, people can move ahead. So yeah, the cars one is really particularly special and very important. It makes a huge difference for people living in regional communities.
Wonderful, thanks, Jane. I have another question here, and it's one I think that might be best for Mana Agnes to answer because it is about the disability books. And one of our supporters has asked, who was the book developed for? So who do we give the books to? Who uses these books?
Yeah, sure. About the development of the book. So the main target group is the first one is the teachers, the second one is the students, and the last one is our stakeholders. This also include the community and also the parents, because currently the book that we've just produced, we already distribute 200 to our stakeholders who participated in our book launch last year, and also more book that we already distribute to e-schools, so the teachers can use that, can read those storybooks to the students in the class during the Tetum literacy discipline. So at that time, teacher also will learn about the disability, inclusive education from those their storybooks, and also the students will also learn about the information about the inclusive education, especially for those with disability through their storybooks. And also our parents program in Timor-Leste, we already distribute around 1,200 storybooks to to the parents who participate in our training. So the parents also read about the inclusive storybooks, the disability storybooks that we distribute to them, and also they can read it to their children as well. So some of their children already know about the terms, how to call people with disability with a good manners. And also they know about the right for the people or their friends with disability also have the same rights to get the education. Yeah, I think the books is also we produce not only for teachers and students, but for all community and include our stakeholders as well. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for answering that. And I'm sorry if I haven't asked your question, we will try to get back to you personally, but I've just selected, made sure I could ask a question for each program. But that does bring us to the end of our event for today, and we hope that you found it interesting. I would like to say on behalf of the greater Mary MacKillop Today community and all of the communities that we serve, thank you for joining us, and thank you for helping to continue Saint Mary MacKillop's life-changing work among the most vulnerable and marginalised people. Thank you for joining us today.